The goal of this training module is to help you be more successful at selling HPE Store Tape solutions. It will allow you to understand why tape is re-emerging as the new must-have category for data protection and long-term storage, and enhance your role as a trusted advisor for your customers. Let's begin with a very current question. Does tape still have a role in addressing the storage demands created by artificial intelligence workloads and big data? Can tape still be relevant to cutting-edge IT? The answer is definitely yes. AI and machine learning systems process colossal amounts of data created by, amongst other things, the Internet of Things, financial systems, retail transactions, and consumer apps. Finding a secure, cost-effective, and sustainable home for this precious big data is one of the biggest challenges in our ever-expanding digital society. Tape can help, because these huge datasets can be stored on very cheap, inexpensive tape systems and transferred to faster platforms for training generative AI models. Information on this epic scale can help businesses create so-called digital twins to model R&D and real-world outcomes in areas such as power generation, manufacturing, HVAC systems, and urban planning. However, these benefits are only possible with gigantic amounts of relevant data. Archived data stored on tape can be the foundation to enable these projects. HPE believes the value of tape can be summarized in 4 key areas. The 4 S's: scalability, security, savings, and sustainability. Comparing the technology roadmaps for hard disk and tape, it's clear from this point onwards, tape storage potential will pull away from what's possible to achieve using disk. With its colossal storage density, tape will be the ideal cold data storage solution to help organizations navigate their data oceans successfully. Ransomware will continue to be a big driver of storage innovation. Today, about a quarter of businesses that are hit by ransomware lose everything. While tape cannot stop a ransomware attack, it can greatly increase the chances of recovery because data is preserved offline behind an air gap. And finally, when it comes to savings and sustainability, tape can help organizations significantly reduce the carbon footprint associated with keeping vast quantities of data for long periods of time. And in doing so, witness much lower cost of ownership specifically for long-term cold data storage. So with that introduction, let's look at these topics in a bit more detail. You may not realize it, but the world is using more LTO tape than ever before. Demand for tape storage is increasing. In 2023, the tape industry set a new record of 152.9 exabytes shipped on LTO media in a single 12-month period. This represented about 3% growth over 2022. That's just under 500,000 terabytes per day, almost 5 terabytes every second. And Smart Money says that demand is only going to increase in the future. But why is that? The simple answer is data growth. It's difficult to visualize, but the big data sets of today are only a fraction of those that will exist in the near future. In the next decade, our digital world will generate colossal amounts of information. Trillions upon trillions of gigabytes in data oceans that need to be kept securely and sustainably. According to the analyst John Monroe from Future Research, the installed base capacity of enterprise storage will increase from 6 zettabytes this year to 36 zettabytes by 2030. It will be driven by the storage needs of artificial intelligence and machine learning applications. And by mobile apps, devices in the Internet of Things, and unstructured data like video surveillance footage. John Monroe estimates conservatively that this surge of data could be as high as 30% compound annual growth between now and the end of the decade. And this data will be generated across all forms of business and commercial activity. Data is the life force of tomorrow's business, an exploding asset increasing in importance and value. Smart cities connect various urban systems using billions of sensors in the Internet of Things. These are generating vast amounts of data to help improve how cities are planned, their transportation networks, use of energy, and more. Autonomous cars are equipped with thousands of sensors that continuously collect data. Analyzing this information in real time allows the car's control system to understand its environment and make decisions. Although this is a good example of how data is generated right at the edge, it needs to be kept for development, regulatory, and compliance purposes. So over time, this vast information resource will migrate and be consolidated in a data center. Many sectors, including healthcare, finance, retail, manufacturing, transportation, and others, are recognizing the value of big data analytics. The use of artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies means the demand for high-quality, diverse, and large-scale data sets can only grow. Of course, how data is used and managed will be different from one industry to the next. But all businesses need to find the right mix of performance, accessibility, and cost-effectiveness. So what does this big picture presentation mean for tape? Customers will certainly need to take account of the fact that data has different value at different points in its life cycle, depending on its purpose. And this means one form of storage may be more practical or cost-effective depending on the age of the data and what it's being used for. You're probably familiar with the traditional view of data storage as a pyramid of different layers. Hot data requires frequent and instantaneous access. It sits at the top of the pyramid on primary storage and is often referred to as mission critical. An example could be the data used by an online retailer to make real-time decisions about e-commerce orders. Warm data needs to be accessible, but without the extreme performance of primary storage. Good examples of warm data would be backups or snapshots of primary storage systems. These live on so-called secondary storage devices and occupy the middle tier of the pyramid. And finally, cold and even frozen data, which is rarely or never accessed but needs to be kept indefinitely. Speed of access is much less important for this deep archival tier. Almost all of this data will be unstructured. Examples might include video, audio, still images, sensor data, text information, and much more. Logically, the temperature of the tier is what determines the choice of the storage media in terms of cost per gigabyte stored, as well as the performance and speed of recovery you can expect. But no matter where it lives, data has to be stored on something. The challenge is finding the optimal balance between hot, warm, and cold storage technologies. Because what you can't see so easily from the traditional view of the pyramid is the impact of the data growth we discussed a moment ago. In the next decade, this cold archive tier of the pyramid is going to become immense. Now, you could theoretically store all your data, hot, warm, and cold, on high-performance primary storage arrays. But deploying 100% solid-state flash storage is almost nobody's reality. Unless you had an overwhelming business need, you'd incur high and largely unnecessary costs, as well as facing many challenges to keep pace with your data growth. Some vendors and commentators claim that hard disk is the ideal cold data storage medium because it allows you to keep your data relatively accessible at a lower price point. This is possible if we're comparing mechanical hard disks with solid-state storage, but it's not an argument that holds when comparing disk with tape. The challenge is that disk capacities are growing at a much slower rate than they did in the past, just at the point where data growth is accelerating. Remember that 30% compound annual growth figure we discussed earlier for installed storage capacity? By 2030, leading hard drive vendors hope to ship 100 terabyte hard disk drives for storage. But this increase in individual drive capacity is only about half the growth rate of cold data. That's because of some fundamental laws of physics that relate to magnetic media recording technology. We don't have time to dive into all that detail here, but the barrier of the super paramagnetic limit means to reach 100 terabytes, next-generation hard drives will require a lot of technical innovation. In turn, this means the cost per gigabyte of hard disk technology is unlikely to change significantly. Businesses that only use traditional hard disk storage for cold data will almost certainly need more units, more floor space, and face significant increases in their IT budget. But what about complexity and being able to index, track and access all of your data across multiple platforms. Wouldn't that rule out tape? The answer to that question is a resounding no. Today's solutions for long-term archival storage can scale to billions of objects, and they can keep track of where information resides, even if that content is stored on tape. So let's repeat the message from earlier in the training. It's not tape or cloud. Tape is the cloud. It's a way of delivering something of value. Tape can help you address your backup and archival storage challenges, regardless of whether you take a traditional on-prem, hybrid, or as-a-service approach. As you can see from the LTO roadmap, vendors have a lot more room to scale current LTO 9 technology to reach larger capacities in the future. While the hard drive industry aims to deliver 100 terabytes of capacity per unit by the early 2030s, LTO 14 is projecting 1,400 terabytes in a single cartridge. Before we move on, I want to stress that hard disk drives will have a role to play in managing cold data, because they do offer faster, random access for workloads like the machine learning and AI training we mentioned earlier. But disk cannot be the solution for the majority of that huge cold data tier for the reasons I've just described. So if we can't use all flash or all disk for cold storage, what's the answer? A different storage media will be needed. One with bigger unit capacity, lower unit cost, and lower energy consumption. A technology that is truly optimized for the coming surge of archive data. A complementary technology that can do things other storage platforms can't. HPE StoreEver LTO Tape. HPE StoreEver Tape is very much part of HPE's storage portfolio moving forward. It's something that you can sell and that your customers can purchase with confidence. HPE is preparing for the launch of LTO 10 in 2025. And we have just released a new library, the Cube, with our OEM partner, Spectra Logic. The Cube promises ultra-high density and performance in an affordable, enterprise-class system capable of holding 1,670 tapes with a native capacity of 30 petabyte. HPE StoreEver is part of HPE's SMB Smart Choice program, with various tape library and media bundles now available. Easy to buy and quick to ship, these new SKUs offer maximum value for money and supply chain efficiency for partners. And finally, it's part of HPE GreenLake and can be deployed as a service on a pay-per-use basis. So you might be thinking, what does a typical tape installation look like today? The simple answer is that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. In the real world, there are many different types of applications and workloads, availability requirements, and service level agreements. Customers use primary storage like HPE Alletra for failover capabilities and instantaneous data recovery. As we saw earlier, this high-performance storage is ideal for hot, mission-critical data. Secondary storage, like HPE Store Once arrays, can be used to host warm data like backup snapshots. And the offsite part of the 3-2-1-1 rule is provided by offloading data from a physical Store Once array, which could be used on premises, to a remote cloud destination like HPE CloudBank Storage. This frees up space on your primary storage systems and gives you more flexibility to recover data quickly. And finally, the third tier could be HPE StoreEver Tape, which is the ideal target for long-term, secure, cold data retention behind a true, physical air gap. For additional information, including more detailed and complex cybersecurity architectures, download HPE's white paper on building secure ransomware defenses. There you will see that when it comes to maximum security against cyber threats, tape should definitely be a part of your thinking. I hope it's now clear. HPE StoreEver Tape slots in behind these other platforms at a low-cost, very deep storage tier that offers inexpensive scalability to petabytes or even exabytes. So remember, it's not tape or something else. It's tape and the other great offerings from HPE Storage. For the 4 key reasons summarized here: scalability, security, savings, and sustainability. We're going to wrap the training now, But just to remind you that HPE has lots of sales and marketing material to help you sell HPE Store Tape. From tech specs and solution briefs to entertaining videos and pre-written social media posts. You can find all of this information in our Channel Sales and Marketing Toolkit, which is available from the HPE Storever and Storage Supplies portal. And here are some other key URLs that are relevant to your tape sales effort. By selling tape, you're maintaining a margin-rich category for your business. And because customers replenish tapes frequently, you always have a reason to call and find out more about their IT requirements. If you want to find out more, follow us on social media and keep up to date with all of our sales tools at hpestorage.com. But that brings us to the end of our training. Thank you for watching, and I hope it was useful.